Well, welcome back to Luck on Sunday. Hopefully you are now up to speed, given the thoughts of Nick Rust a few moments ago with what's going to happen to racing during lockdown. And the headline is that racing is going to carry on. What we're not entirely sure of is whether that will carry on with owners. But I think you would probably agree that if you owned a horse, why would you go racing during a lockdown period? I don't really think that's feasible, because I don't think in any sense it could be considered an essential activity. Rossa Ryan joins me. He's had a wonderful start to his career. He is still only 20. Tomorrow he will board a plane to head to Kentucky for his first ride in the Breeders' Cup on Devil Wala, the Dewhurst Fourth, whom he rides for Ammo Racing, with whom he's formed a fantastic association this year. It's 200 winners and counting. Runner-up in the Apprentice Championship to Jason Watson a couple of seasons ago, and he hasn't really looked back. And it's great to have you with me, Rossa. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
It has gone well. It's gone quickly, and I put it to you that it's gone seamlessly upwards, but nicely under the radar. So you haven't had too much of the spotlight.
No, exactly. I think it was more because it was second, and Jason won it, got the Roger Charlton job. Nicola was third, got the Jamie Osborne job. It kind of I got taken away from the limelight a small bit. At the time, I was only 18. I was kind of like, what about me? But looking back, and I think it was brilliant. I was able to just form a lovely foundation and build my contacts slowly but surely, and I've built on every season since.
You've got some lovely contacts as well. Let's talk about what's happening right now and very immediately. You're off to America to ride Devil Wala in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Your owner and your trainer could easily have gone for a big, experienced American jockey, but they've shown faith in you. How does it feel to be taking up such a big opportunity?
Oh, it is incredible. It really is, and I think that is the really good thing about having Kia as my boss. He, has said it to me on numerous occasions. He deals with 20 and 21-year-old kids like me, in the football ranks, and he has to bring them through, and he brings them through together and builds as a team, and kind of somebody to look at you and just have so much faith in you. And like he said it to me, I was speaking to him last night, he said to me last night, everyone's like, you need a wise jockey, you need this, you need that, but he's like, I don't mind making the mistakes, and you learn from them. And he said the more big race experience you get, then you become the wise jockey. And it was something I kind of just thought, wow. And ever since, I think I was my own worst enemy until I got my first winner for him, which came on Devil Wala. And ever since then, it's just been no pressure, relax, enjoy your race, and there's no pressure on you, and just ride them as well as you can, and see how you get on.
This is Key, who's your boss.
Yeah.
Ammo Racing, the purple and white colours we see an awful lot now, developing a big string, and as you point out, his job is as a football agent. So he's used to looking after young talented people, and he and you hopefully are going to grow together. I guess that's the idea.
With the help of God, you couldn't have asked for yourself to land in a job like this and be brought along and kind of not feel pressure on the big day. It's just like, we're out to see how good our horses are. You make a mistake, might get mad, but we'll come along together. We'll build as a team together. And he's been in the sport, but not as a big owner, and he really has invested the last 2 or 3 seasons into it. And obviously with him building, and I'm building with him, and I'm building with trainers as well, and trainers' confidence, and it's really been a confidence barrier for me. There's not been, how you say, the pressure that, if I mess up, I'm going to get jocked off it. No, that whole thought in your head has gone out the window. I'll ride this lad as good as I can, and if we're good enough, we'll be there with a chance and hopefully win. And if not, hopefully it wasn't good enough.
Did you come over to England when you were 16 as a confident 16-year-old? Or no?
No, I mean, I had a great grounding pony racing. And I had a great grounding, you know, I was really happy I started in Ireland. You know I only did 3 months on the all-weather in Dundalk, but...
That probably teaches you about 30 years, doesn't it? 3 months on the Dundalk circuit.
But it was something like, you know, I remember one day I was sandwiched in between Kevin Manning and the great Pat Smullen. And Pat was on my outside. And we was locked in horns the whole way around. Pat didn't want to be 3 wide. I was a 10-pound claimer. And I rubbed off him the whole way, both of them, the whole way around. And I wasn't getting an inch. And it was kind of just... I came over here then and I started to do that. If I got caught 3 wide, I didn't want to be 3 wide, but I knew the lad inside of me would have to know I didn't want to be 3 wide. And it was just little things like that, you know.
So that taught you an enormous amount. So you came over and just... When you came to Richard Hannon's, did you think, well, this is I'm here for the long haul, or was it more of a trial?
I came in October for a trial. And I was still in school, so it was during my holidays. So I couldn't just say, right, I'll sign on, you know, good luck with school. I went home, I finished off school at Christmas and said goodbye to the family and was on my way. It wasn't the plan. The plan was to stay in school. You know, I wasn't very small as a young lad. It was, you know, get your licence, you know, tiddle away on the flat and see how you get on, but do the leaving cert, and then we'll see how your weight stands and we'll go from there. And then obviously, you know, being from, you know, a small part of Galway, the west of Ireland, I was brought up in the jumping game, and I knew no difference when such a big name like Richard Hannon pops in and says, he said to my dad, David, I want to take your young lad as an apprentice. I just thought, you know, Dad was kind of taken by it, and he had to sit my mother down. It was getting it through to my mom, and once he got it through to my mom, I was on my way.
And it's only you and your sister at home, and you were only 16. That must have been tough for your mum.
It was. The only benefit was because we was in Galway. When I used to ride out in places like Enda Bulgers and Willie Mullins's, I always had to go for a week or two. You know, I always had to go on a trip. I never went for a day or I'd go in riding out in the morning. It was always a trip. So I was kind of used to being away from home. But it is hard, like, especially with COVID, like, you know, it's been nearly a year and a bit now since I seen them last because of COVID, and they went to Australia for the winter. So in one case, that is hard. But, you know, we're a close family, so I've always, you know, I'd always be on the phone to them always. So that kind of the way social media works these days now, it's very easy to stay in contact, and, you know, you nearly feel like you're there, you know. Because
your dad trains pointers and bits and pieces still. Your Uncle Tom's a jockey in Australia, so it is in the blood. Were you going to be a jumps jockey, really?
Yeah, I think that was the initial plan. I remember doing a couple of Christmases in Enda Bulgers, and I think that more than anything taught me my most about horses, because there was no stone left unturned from brushing a sweat mark off a horse to getting him to jump and getting him to go forward for you. And because even pony racing, my weight wasn't great, I thought that's the route I'm going to go eventually. And then when it got to 16, was going on the track, my weight wasn't too bad. I had the chance when the boss came in and said that he wanted me to sign on as an apprentice. I think it was just an opportunity that couldn't be missed. And you know, even my father said it to me a couple of weeks back, you'd have to pinch yourself. You know, it was only January 2017 I left for England, and, you know, I was second in apprentice title. You know, I rode my first group winner you know, the year after I lost my claim, and then this year I had a Royal Ascot winner, which is massive. Seeing of all the people that there's better jockeys out there that haven't had a Royal Ascot winner, and then to land a lovely partnership with Ammo Racing was incredible.
Yeah, you've built up lots of really interesting, as you say, relationships with trainers without having a sort of massive headline job before the job with Ammo Racing, which has given you contacts into so many different yards. When you talk about the Royal Ascot win on a Highland Chief, you'd ridden Duke of Hazzard for the same connections last year to your group win at Goodwood.
Yeah, like I can't take it away. You know, Mr. Cole and Mr. and Mrs. Hayes were very good to me, giving me my first group winner and Royal Ascot winner, and they evidently put me on the map really, and I couldn't be more grateful for what they did for me and my career.
So how was riding a winner at Royal Ascot this year? Because a strange experience, nobody there, but you know, just looking at your sheer joy after the race, there may as well have been 75,000 people there.
I suppose I never rode in Royal Ascot until this year. I never had a ride, so I never felt like what it was supposed to be like with crowds and the atmosphere. But Ascot in itself, coming under the tunnel itself, is massive buzz, crowd or no crowd. It's like, it is massive, and you always get a buzz, even if it's just a Friday night winner at Ascot. Riding a winner at Ascot is massive, I think, and I think every jockey will reflect on that, especially the young jockeys, the lads that are, you know, still have their claim or they've just ridden out their claim. Riding a winner at Ascot is brilliant, no matter what race it is.
And how's this year been as a whole for jockeys? You haven't had to do so much travelling, I guess. That's one good thing.
Yeah, I haven't had. We still, you know, we're still one meeting, and I think it opens it up for. I think it opens up the connection that a lot of us, a lot of horses, a lot of rides are staying in-house in, you know, trainers with the jockeys that are riding out and putting the graft in, because you've only restricted to one meeting. For me, I think it's been a saving grace, because the big day, you know, I've been able to take it all in my stride, and I've had no pressure from Kia and the team at Ammo, but I have had no crowd pressure either. You know, Lullaby Moon winning up in Redcar, she went off the favourite, but there was no crowds there. I had nobody roaring, you know. I could just take it as another race, like a normal day just up at Redcar. And, you know, it just, you know, kind of took me away. Like, even the Dewhurst, really, I landed in the stalls, I was first one in, and Frankie was in pretty early, and he looked at me, he said, "Are you not nervous for your first Group 1? I thought, no, it was just another race at Newmarket, you know, with a good quality horses, better quality horses.
How much of a buzz is it giving you now? As you talked about, you were very animated talking about when you're there between Pat Smullen and Kevin Manning in a race at Dundalk when you're a 16-year-old £10 claimer. Now you're riding every day with Dettori, Moore, Doyle, Buick and all the senior riders. What sort of buzz is it giving you getting to that next level?
It's very exciting, but, you know, I've worked, you know, all I've ever been taught in life was to work hard. And I was always told the saying, you know, talent beats work every time. But if talent doesn't work, work beats talent. And personally myself, and I probably down myself a small bit and say, I don't have the brain to talk my way up out of things. All I know is to work and be as nice as I can to people. And get on with people, you know. I find it very easier to get on with people than fall out with them, you know. And working hard has got me this far. And just think, if I just stay working hard, stay doing what I'm doing, keep my head down, myself to myself, and keep going, that one day it might finally crack for me.
In terms of your own riding, how much do you rely on your own instincts, talents, gifts, call it what you will, and how much do you watch and try and emulate other people?
Massively, but no one rides the same. You know, you have to look at the real strengths of riders. Like Richard Hughes was, of when I paid attention to the flat racing when I was a kid, was always the man. He had style. He was so patient. Like Richard Hughes around Goodwood was just incredible. He was something else to watch. And I always take any little advice from anybody, whoever it is. Sometimes it works. If it works, you go about their way of thinking of it, and sometimes it don't, and you stick to your own. But I always listen to the older people, the older generation than me that are in the yard. You know, they've been in our yards, in Hannon's or wherever it may be, so long. They've seen it all. They've seen apprentices pass through. They've seen jockeys pass through. And they've seen it all, and any little thing. And even just the ordinary lad that looks after horses, they know the horses more than I do, especially the horses that I've never ridden before, I've nothing to do with. And any little thing at all, they'll notice is wrong. And I suppose that all comes together as such in one, you know, and it all counts.
And that academy of apprentices over the last few years has not just produced you, but also Tom Marquand and Holly Doyle. It's quite a fair list over the last 3 or 4 years alone, let alone what went on before then.
Oh, it's incredible. Like, it was always the case. You go to Richard Hannon's, he'd Ryan Moore, you know, and now it'll be in time. You go to Richard Hannon's, you had Tom and Holly. Like, I think for the industry in the dark times we've been in, have been the best thing to happen to highlight, because they are the power couple, and they've brought light to the industry, like what happened on Champions Day. Both of them thoroughly deserve, you know, they've worked very hard for everything they've got. But as a normal person looking in on the sport and how the sport is developing for racing, to have somebody like a power couple as young as they are, I think it was, you probably couldn't write it, but it was the best thing to happen in the sport.
Obviously, it's fantastic for people who are trying to sell the sport. But what about for you as a sportsman, to have people who are just a little older, but not too much, who are achieving and who appear to go about the game the right way? How important is that for somebody like you to look up to aspire to be friends with?
Massively, because, as you know yourself, the world is changing every day, and, you know, the older generation sometimes are just stuck to their own ways and stuck in the mud. And, you know, I was always told the best businessmen are the best businessmen because they change with the times. And if you keep just changing with the times and watching the lads ahead of you, but you have to also watch the lads that are coming behind you as well, because, you know, they're a year younger, but they're changing quicker with the times because you're getting older. And, you know, if you want to progress, and I don't think anyone is ever perfect, and you have to want to progress in every way, and something along the way everywhere can be twigged and be better and be done better. And I still, like, although Frankie Dettori's and Ryan Moore, two best jockeys in the world, you know, they're always improving on something every day, whether it be tactical riding or anything. And I think that's why they're the best there today, because they're always improving. They always want to improve. They're never the finished article till the day they retire.
Now, you may still be learning. You may have a big future in front of you, but if this comes off next Friday, it's going to be a huge result, winning a Breeders' Cup race. Do you think it's on? Do you think Devil Wilder could really do it?
My mind says yes, and I want to say 100% it can be done, and I think it can. But you're always going to be feared of Aidan O'Brien horse. You're always going to be feared. He's lined them out since Goodwood for today, for the race. But I know the ability my horse has, and I know I put a line through the Mill Reef front. I just think he wasn't right that day. And the horse you've seen in the Dewhurst, I think there's more to come from him, especially with his attitude and his temperament. And he's a horse that you can control races on because he's got that high cruising speed, and also I think he'll suit American racing because I can be aggressive from the stalls from him, go forward. If I'm landed in front, you know, he drops the bridle straight away. He don't be like any other horse where he's always revvy and keen, and because you've lit him up, he'll just get to the front and he'll relax. And I can slow it up and I can fill him up whenever I want and kick on probably 2 or 3 strides earlier than everybody else because it just takes him that 2 or 3 strides to get going. Obviously the barrier draw is going to be vital for us around there, but we have to just keep our fingers crossed that we get a good barrier draw. But I wouldn't rule him out. I think personally the handicapper doesn't rule him out because, you know, Cadillac is the highest rated of the European horses going over at 114. And we've beaten them 2 lengths in the Dewhurst. Battleground and New Mandate are rated at 112. We're rated 113. I personally think the handicapper didn't think it was a fluke. I think he put a line through the Mill Reef run, and I personally think from the Dewhurst run he looked like he was looking to want to go further, and he finally got it. And as I said, he's got a small bit lost in the dip. The step up to a mile, I wouldn't question it. I wouldn't have any fears that he won't stay.
Well, there is no point getting on that plane unless you believe in the mission in front of you, and you obviously do. Rossa, thank you very much for coming in. Best of luck, and we'll see you there.
Thanks for having me. Cheers, Nick. Thank you.
Rossa Ryan, who will ride Devil Wala in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile